but it should be a lot of fun. Sofchan, let's get into it. From the Vitality B's side, or from the BDS side, I'll let you kind of take your pick. Anything that you want to see here early on in the draft?
In the draft, I think I am going to be interested in anything that is related to C in that top lane for BDS Valkyries. And I think J-Real mentioned that even though we have seen so many bruisers and like duelists coming out from C in previous Pathfinders, she's been playing a little more enabler, playing more engagers, more tanks in the top lane. So I would love to see some coming back to the roots and just getting something a little more spicy. It's something that was in the VT, so I'm gonna try to see if anything like that happens. All of the bans have been put on the table. A couple of interesting ones. I would say the Ziggs hasn't appeared much on Pathfinders.
No, it did get it is getting, I believe, some buffs. I'm not sure if that was a hotfix, that Q radius increase, but either way, that is pretty minor as far as all things are concerned, and very minor if this does indeed go through, as the Akali, which wouldn't be blind, it would be into Lilith's Syndra, Control Mage versus Pop-Off, 3, 2, 1, absolutely, that's phenomenal. So, Jarvan, we've seen it a few times throughout this tournament. J-Real, you talked about it. See pop-off potential in all these carry positions. The Valkyries have carry players, and Sha on the Akali's get a chance to do just that.
Yeah, and I'm liking it, right? Because there is actually potential that we do see the flex. We could go over to C. You never know. The top lane Akali is still alive and kicking, but I would imagine that it is going to go to Sha, right? The Syndra being locked in gives you that freedom to kind of lock in your own mid laner. The Jarvan pickup here, as you said, we've seen it multiple times today. It's popped off every single time. The Kayn was not what I was expecting coming out from Ali.
Yeah, they just hovered like a litany of assassins there and ended up settling on the Kayn. We will not get the Kayn Xerath Dark Tech, unfortunately. They banned themselves out of it. I would just love to see that on stream. But more than that, I would love to actually play-by-play cast it and say some ridiculous things and yell at my screen very loud. But J-Real, I'll leave all that to you. Kaisa and Ashe looking like they're going to be the two stories here as far as the AD carry is concerned. And again, we talked about it. Yeah, that indeed it will be locked in as we get a Rakan ban to go along with it. So yeah, we talked about it. Look, Ashe still prevalent in the meta, and instead of being purely utilitarian, can play more damage these days, but that ultimate, that's the real game changer still. Sofchan, since 2010, she's been the poster girl of this game for 13 years, and that one ability is still as game changing as ever.
Well, she is the one champion that I bought my first skin for. It was like back in the day, 10 years ago, when you created your account, you got like a little bit of a free RP.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, well, then I need more to be able to buy the skin. That's what I did, and I bought Ashe Amethyst. So I really like to see that Ashe is back into the groove, because she can fall too much into utilitarian, like even going for support, going for a Misfortune's Ashe bot lane, which... okay, it works, but I really prefer seeing her as an actual marksman. The rest of the team being picked, the Ornn is going to go on the top lane. And interesting seeing Leona being hovered, but just something very solid and straightforward. Heavy engager, the Nautilus with the Ashe on the bottom lane, and C confirmed on a Mordekaiser. Yo, that's gonna be massive. We're gonna see her not just being a frontline, but doing heavy damage too.
Wait, this is awesome. We get big mixed. I had to. Come on, 1.5
you
Brazilians
broke
on the
me.
broadcast.
No!
We had to. Come on.
You broke my Brazilian code.
It's okay. I can only half get away with it. But these two bans, the Rakan and the Alistar ban from BDS, I was interested to see what they would lock in as a result. And with the Rakan and the Alistar not available, opting for the Leona Nautilus, they kind of do the same thing here. But front to back, a little bit easier to play. Actually, both of these compositions, they've actually got a lot of similarities. Now that I'm digesting it on the fly, I don't know if you heard that in the background. Those were the gears turning in my head. J-Real.
The monkey.
Tanks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the monkey's clashing the zones. Yeah. J-Real, front to back team compositions, mixed damage sources, and assassins as well on both sides.
Yeah, as you said, very similar. They aren't necessarily going to play the same way, but they do have quite a lot of similarities in the way that they are going to function. I think that my advantage personally is actually going to go over to BDS. I just think because of where their strengths are, they've kind of powered that up, and they've also given themselves a situation where they can kind of hold out that earlier stages, right? Like there's a little bit of a question mark for me over the Kayn. I think that's the one that's really kind of getting my gears, because Kayn obviously notorious for being quite a strong champion once they get to form. pre-form, there is a whole 10 to potentially even 15 minutes where they are not going to be as high in potential, and Jarvan is the game changer at the moment, right? Has been probably one of the highest pick or banned junglers at the moment, and it's because of the early game potential that he can deliver, and we've seen it time and time again today. And as I said, Ender loves a good early game, loves a facilitation for their laners, and I feel like that's the way BDS are going to go, and I feel like VFB, they got to weather that storm.
Yeah, they got to weather the storm until that champion gets online. So, Sofchan, excuse me, I apologize. Sofchan, anything from your end? Like we talked about, these competitions want to play a little bit differently, but do you share J-Real's sentiments on the Kayn here?
I think I do, and I think considering that you have two assassins in the forms of the Kayn and in the form of the Akali, it's similar in the role, but it's different because one is a mid laner, one is a jungler. So there's going to be the difference in the level power spikes, as J-Real mentioned, that the Jarvan is going to deny from the Kayn. And then in the Akali matchup, you have a Syndra. Man, the Syndra is going to bully and bully and bully this Akali, no end. So it's just something that is going to rely on, well, the Akali is going to get bullied, but then she has the Jarvan. And then on the other side, if you're thinking about the matchup, we'll see what's going to be the focus for this Kayn. Is it going to go red? Is it going to go blue? Where is he going to focus? Because depending on where he goes, it's going to be a different scaling of his transformation. So it's very different overall because the two roles are in two lanes, and I think that changes the whole dynamic.
Well, as far as the Jarvan is concerned, a lot of fun lanes to potentially attack. This is very much a triple threat composition from BDS, but again, the Ashe playing kind of that pivotal role. Lots of high impact ultimates. We haven't even talked Mordekaiser ult here. We'll see how many want to pay the QSS tax. Before we get into it here, J-Real, I think I know kind of where you're going to land on this, but I need 20-second predictions from either of you.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely going to be, in my eyes, advantage BDS. I would be surprised if Vitality are able to kind of withstand the early game. Yes, they have some really good long-range engage threats that can really turn around the late-game team fights, but taking someone to Brazil, if C gets ahead, it's going to be GG, one person down, and then also the sentiment of just the rest of the team being a little bit earlier paced than the enemy side of VFB. I think BDS had the advantage here.
Sofchan, what about you?
I really can't say, like, from the start. I think both compositions have such great points onto them, coming from what I mentioned just previously. So I feel like it's going to depend on how they focus the early game and how those dives, especially the dives, how they're going to go in the top lane, in the bottom lane. Both of them really want to do those things, and they are always risky things to do. So I feel like it's going to depend on those first few 7 until 14 minutes that things are going to be setting the pace.
BDS Valkyries, Vitality French Bees. Not a lot to play for as far as results are concerned, but pride on the line as we get into it. A little bit of content your way. When we come back, Sofchan and J-Real will take us to the final best of 2 of the day.
We're just aiming for the top one.
We trained for it, we are ready for it, and I really think we can win this one.
I don't think we have to be scared. As long as we're playing correctly, there is nothing that can really bother us.
If we stick to the plan, we win for sure.
I just think we have tools to beat everyone. It was me last time who said be scared.
I really think we can beat BDS when we see the last game we played against them. Don't feel too much confident against us because we worked hard and we'll win hard. Be careful, our victory is gonna sting.
We're gonna beat everyone, we're gonna murder them.
And we are back into this game. As said, the stakes are all for pride. And so, Chan, these two have met before, right? Last Pathfinders, it was a 2-0 from the side of BDS. They were able to pick this one up pretty cleanly. Can they repeat history? We'll find out shortly. Obviously, we kind of talked about the early game status of this game, but where are you really wanting to keep your eyes on in that first 10 minutes?
I would have to be on the junglers, both of them. It would have to be Ali and Sashi. I feel like what's most important to see if we're going to see Kayn going for a full clear, if we're going to see Jarvan going for a early level 2 gank, those things are going to be very, very crucial. We already see a ping coming out from Vitality French Bees on the enemy's red buff, so there might be some invading potential that is going to come out of here. So is an engage.
Oh, and you called it. Level 2 gank is going to be inbound. Evolution are going to flash forward. Their roots are going to come through. And Kasane, they're waiting for the flash to be used before they flag and drag. But this is just a lost cause. Goodbye, good night. They hold the flash, which is smart. But Stratus Panda with the early lead. And it's something that we've seen in our last 2 games, right? Where we saw NNO really power through the bot side. And obviously bot lane feels like it's getting a little bit stronger. Is this the way to win League of Legends now, Sofjan?
Well, it's definitely a way. I feel like nowadays there are more ways to win a match in League of Legends than it used to be. A couple of seasons, it felt like you got all the buffs, Drakes, souls, then you're done. You just win. There was no way back. But I feel like most of these games, especially in this level where we are, there are so many opportunities to bounce back with Heralds, with Barons, with split pushes. We've seen quite a bit of split pushes and a lot of action in the mid lanes as we see Sha and Lilith facing each other. Ellie just around.
Ali is around. I don't think they're going to go for this one. And Shaw is getting quite a bit of damage down with those shurikens, but it is actually going to be traded quite nicely there. Lilith able to hold her own and get a bit of damage back. Now, we saw the early gank from Jarvan. They haven't got a camp since. They went all the way up to the top side. Are we expecting this to be a heavy gank setup from Ender, just basically permanently ganking and gaining their levels off of that? Or do you feel like there is a little bit of a cooling phase where the Jarvan does need to catch up on farm because the Kayn can just power?
Yes, I think there is a point where the Jarvan is going to have to try to come back from it, because we're seeing this now being level 4 while Ender is level 3. So many camps ahead. It's just going to make it so much easier for any engages coming out from the Kayn themselves. But I think it's all around mid lane at this point, because the moment that it cools down is just going to be down to 1v1s, the side lanes, and this Sha versus Lilith matchup is looking hella spicy, J-Real.
And I also think the top lane too, we've already seen that Chubby Daddy had to go back to base, had to TP into lane, and see, we mentioned them from the start of the day. They are a really great top laner. They're one that has put a lot of pressure onto many a top laner in Pathfinders, and we're seeing it once again, right? The Mordekaiser is just applying that pressure, causing problems, and surely someone is going to have to help the Ornn at some point, or maybe they just decide to leave them to swim, because there are other plays that they could make in the bot lane now. Ali going to go in for this gank, the return gank. We saw one very early on, but this one not leading to be as successful just yet. Evoluna though will finally fall down, and it's 1-1 when it comes to bot lane ganks.
I really like this one, because you see the team from Vitality basing out that gank, and then having Ali in the back line coming out for a flank. Very well executed, forcing out flashes, all the summoners. Oh my god, top lane, this is gonna be very close to taking down on a flash away! Both flashes are down, J-Real!
It's not enough. They need to get in close. They can't get the pullback though. And Ornn able to walk away. Chubby Daddy survives.
Oh my god! Whoa! That reminds me of the Gwen play I think we've seen today, or something along those lines. Or am I just tripping? I'm talking about other casts I've had. Evoluna going in the mid lane though.
Oh, the unseen support is the deadliest. Lilith stuck in the middle of their lane is going to be sent to the base, as now see in a bit of a sticky situation. But I will say they're going to go into the death realm here, and Ali might be the one that's in trouble. They say call an ambulance, but not for me, and pick up a kill.
Sheesh. Wee. They are down. Man, that was very well done by C, knowing exactly that if there were more people there, when you still have your Shadow Realm, and then things just become much easier. So you're going to deny Kayn the thing that he has that is so powerful in the early game, going through the walls. If you're denied your mobility, you're not going to be able to do that. And then now securing the first Drake of the game is going to be a Hextech one, so no Hextech Soul that is going to come up for this fight, and another 1v1.
Oh no, see, it's just so tanky. Look at the burn. Look at the burn.
Insane.
The Ornn just being melted.
That's a bit rude, I would say. That is a bit rude. Well, overall, one thing that I wanted to point out, J-Real, is the big difference in CS that I'm seeing in the mid lane, because I mentioned that the Syndra could have the possibility to just be very aggressive and try to deny and control the wave really well against the Akali, solely in regards to how well she can farm and how limited it is for range and early levels. But man, the Akali is just really 20 CS ahead compared to Syndra, and I'm impressed by it, I will say.
Yeah, that one gank leading to quite a bit of pressure, leading to a decent-sized gold lead, and I don't feel like it's letting up, and it's what we set up at the start, right? The fact that there is going to be quite a bit of an early game presence from BDS, and whether Vitality French Bees can kind of weather that storm, and at the moment, they aren't doing the best at navigating through that one, because they are 2k down already, and Lilith might be getting dove here. The flag and drag gets the knock-up, but is the damage there? Good stun back, and there's the unleashed power. The extra tower shot is going to finish off Shah, and a bit of a miscalculation might breathe a little bit of fresh air for Vitality French Bees.
Oh, that's wonderful. Lilith is just gonna farm now, like, oh, okay, they don't have TP, I'm fine. I can just freeze. If I can't push it, if I can't shove it, I can freeze. It's fine. We'll just keep on getting those resources. Top lane though, see, doesn't even care about anything. Tower shots, meh. Just nothing but a flesh wound.
And I'm pretty sure, by the way, when they killed Chubby Daddy, they hadn't based, they just stayed out, which is like absolutely insane. C has so much control over this laning phase, and we talked about, okay, Kayn not going to have the same early game advantage. Well, they need to start getting on the map because their laners are starting to crumble. Another kill looks like it's going to go down in the top side, and C is so dominant.
Yeah, they have completed the first item, 3-0-0, very good lead, 20 CS ahead, already have half an ingredient for half another item. Man, things are looking very good and healthy for BDS at the moment, going for a 2k gold advantage. Ellie might be caught in a bad place if they get spotted.
Oh, does have honorable trespass. It's going to be able to buy a little bit of time, but look at how many members there are. 3, slowly getting onto that point, but it is actually a number advantage to Vitality French Bees. They've left Stratus Panda on the bottom lane, as in comes the Crystal Arrow. That should hit, and it does, on to the ADC. That is going to be Vicky getting caught out, but the damage is just a little bit too much. Evoluna going in a little too early, and it is going to be turned around. Vitality French Bees with the number advantage, going to be able to pick up that fight, and then the Herald. That
was an interesting fight. I wouldn't expect them to turn it around for real. J-Real. Because when I saw that Crystal Arrow, I thought, well, this is the moment where they are going to deal so much damage. They had the Akali, they had the Jarvan, and then the Kai'Sa with, I don't know, I don't even think they needed that cleanse, because they were very much fine, but, well, the cleanse guaranteed the kill, so I think it's worth it. So not just that, you make them retreat, as you said, and guarantee the Herald yourselves. So things looking much better for Vitality French Bees. And it all started with that dangerous dive that happened there in the mid lane, with Shah going down, Lilith getting a shutdown herself, a regular kill, excuse me. And with that, you just guarantee that the whole team feels a little more comfortable, understanding more the limitations around the map, and they act on it. So I really like it.
Oh no. Things
the flashes.
Things that aren't necessarily liked is laning against Mordekaiser when fed. You know, that's not on the list of things I would like to do on a Saturday, but we'll find out if that can start to stabilize a little bit more, right? Because the game isn't done, right? French Vitality Bees have managed to get themselves a little bit back into this game, right? They've closed that gold gap ever so slightly, but they aren't losing as much control. Yes, the top lane is still not going particularly nicely, but they have managed to gain a little bit of control back into the mid, back into the bot lane as well. And Ali is slowly but surely on their way to becoming the Darken or the Assassin form, whichever they do choose. Which brings me to the question, which one do you pick in this game?
I think both of them have their merits, but there's a fight going on, and Lilith is going to be exploded, absolutely shattered to bits. And replying to your question there, I feel like you could do Assassin, you could go Blue Kayn just because you already have Leona and Aeon, but at the same time, I just always prefer Red Kayn. I prefer the extra healing. I prefer the extra CC. I just think it's more reliable than having a full-on assassin, because even Akali being an assassin, she has a couple of tools with healing, with how you're going to build her, that allows you to be just more than just an assassin. We'll see if it's going to be an attempt of stealing from Ali.
Yeah, Ritter also going to be placed down, so trying to just get a little bit of attention away from the dragon, trying to give a bit of an opening for the Kayn, but it feels like it's not going to happen, right? I think that Ender just has this too much on lock. The team is there, they're in good position, and now they're going to even start their assault onto bot lane. Kasane is able to get away for now, but Sashi is moving across. It's a 3v3, and the solar flare going to come through, but that's a double stun now into the double knock-up from the Jarvan, but they're going to have to start backing away because Vicky untouched in this fight, but it's getting closer and closer to the tower, and they're getting a little bit bolder. There is the killer instinct. Under the tower they go. Root down onto Ali, who will fall down, and Sashi, a little bit more damage from Ender will end Vicky. The minions are going to get the job done anyway, and a 2-for-1 goes over to BDS.
Man, and it's just what I mentioned, right? This is a matchup where both compositions just really want to go for dives. The only composition that doesn't want to go like all super sneaky roams and ganks is top lane, right? C is just very healthy by herself, doesn't need any help whatsoever. So on the other side of the map, basically the whole entirety of it, aside from top lane, feels like it's all built on going for dives, going for very big engages, being very aggressive. We just saw Kai'Sa ulting into the backline. And it's what I mentioned in our analysis in the pregame, high risk, high reward. We're seeing a couple of these going on in this game. Sometimes not going that well, but at the end of the day, BDS still has that lead, now growing back to that 3k gold. So we'll see if getting the second Drake was enough to give them good enough of a lead. Platings are going to go down now. And I would say, considering top lane and bottom lane, that the lanes that have been getting the most of that extra gold was BDS.
Yeah, the level that you gain from being Rast is pretty insane, to be honest. But Ali is still getting chunked out because BDS, yes, Kayn may have changed form, but they are not getting any weaker. And Ali looking for one pick, but it's not going to be found. They do manage to escape, but not enough. They will finally be taken out of the game, back to base, and they will be joined by Chubby Daddies, who gets sent back there once more time by C.
I think Chubby Daddy's game is just black and white at this point. It feels very bad to be facing a final boss every time you come back to lane, because that's what it feels like coming from C.
Oh, but aggressive player on the bot lane is going to be able to get a quick pick onto the ADC. Now TPs are coming in, and it's a double TP. C is here as well. They really invested in the round, and they do manage to make it a 1-for-3, or I believe maybe even a 1-for-2 because people had already died. But either way, a huge win for BDS once more, and they just keep the snowball going. They are unwilling to let any lead that they had go by the wayside, and Vitality French Bees are sat back down once again, 5.5k behind the Valkyries.
I think it would require a big deny play coming from Vitality French Bees on the next Drake that we see, just under 2 minutes to go, and something good happening there. Someone getting picked off, maybe a steal. Being a Kayn, you are in a good position to try to steal, to try to get that last hit. So it's possible. But at the same time, you are just stalling. You're not going to be getting that many resources coming out of it. The objective bounties are on board, so that is going to be something that helps. But if they keep on dying in those team fights, they're not going to have time to accumulate the gold and get the items themselves.
They can hope. They can hope that they have time, but they have to stall for it. They have to stall, and it's been a story that we've told a lot today, right? It does feel like a lot of these teams are down to fight, but then you have the fights, you have the bloodshed, but then you realize one of the teams is quite a lot further behind than the other, and we got other resources that are going to be coming up, right? The dragon is coming up in 1 minute, and if BDS start to secure that soul, well, that's just another bullet added to the chamber, right? It's another round that can be fired against Vitality French Bees, and going to make it a little bit harder for them to come back into this. There's another fight in the mid lane. It's going to occur, but a lot of CC is holding up this fight, and it starts off better for VFB. They managed to get a knock up onto the Ashe as well, so holding back the potential return of damage damage from BDS, and it's just taking its time. There's no way that they can get into this. They finally do pick up one, and now two, as the dominoes start to fall. Shah finds the first and second in quick succession, and they're looking for the third. Chubby Daddy's going to be able to get away, but Vicky able to return fire. A 2-for-2 overall in quite an extended fight in this mid lane.
And the shutdown for Vitality French B's ADC as well. Very good. And that's what I mentioned, allocating the right gold. Or is it going to be just enough damage? Maybe the Q is going to be there and not an auto. It's going to be an unofficial triple kill for the Kai'Sa. And that's basically what I was saying. Getting the money allocated in the right people. And now, man, this Kai'Sa is going to start to grow rampant because she has a good curve of hyperscaling anyway, but now she's getting a little bit back of where she was behind.
Now, credit where credit's due, a nice fight for Vitality French Bees. However, we do have to remember that C wasn't in that fight at all, as we do get the replay of what happened in mid lane.
Yeah, let's have a look. I think it starts out really well for the enemy team, but Vitality French Bees gets a good setup by getting people out and zoned out of place. So you separate them, you got Stratospender in the backline, very away from dealing any damage, and then you have a very bold gap closure from Vicky going to the other side of the wall to be far away enough from damage, then just trusting she was going to have enough on the Q to finish off the Akali. This one, I think it was a very easy take. You just keep your distance as an ADC, and then you get things going for you. But BDS still has so much pressure in regards to lane push, especially there in the top lane, if we have a look at that as well, and it's going to help them keep the control around the map.
Ali is going to be able to pick up the counterpart that is Ender, the J4. But I will say, while we had that replay, a Logitech G Drake was secured by BDS, taking them one away from Soul Point. So you got to make sure that you watch out for those ones, because the next dragon could be the last that we see for the Soul Point. As now a little bit more fighting is happening in the mid lane. We see C rotate over to give that assistance to the team, because we talked about it already, right? That last team fight, yes, it worked out really well for VFB, but C wasn't there, who has been the raid boss of the game. They are the monumental bad villain that you have to take down. And so far, they are doing a pretty good job of it. Into the death run they do go, though, and damage is going to be produced. But it's basically C on their own, by the way. It's like a 1v4. And now in goes Vicky. Tries to get aggressive with it, but not able to find the kill. And it all breaks down. BDS with their absolute unit of a top laner just end VFB in the mid lane.
Oh my god, that was so close, and Lilith could have been the fourth player to go down, but instead they managed to stand and keep healthy for a little bit longer. That fight was interesting, I would say. They had good control from the side of Vitality French Bees. Wait! What? Oh my god! Maybe they were just trying to get a ward over the wall or something. Too exposed. At this point, you need to assume that the enemy has eyes on every corner, and so they did. Very easy kill onto Lilith, and not having your mid laner is going to sting when you're going to try to defend this turret. TP going on in the minion, so it's most likely a guaranteed double TP.
Chubby Daddy is going to be caught out a little bit there, but look at the fight. Look at the knock-up. Vicky gets taken down immediately. What a turn of events. The hero that could have potentially been it for VFB is removed, and they take down more. The mid tower will finally be theirs, and BDS are just clamping down control again onto this game. Vitality not finding success. Now, I want to bring your attention to the Kai'Sa right now, to Vicky. We talked a little bit about builds for Kai'Sa. Are you feeling this one, or are you saying that maybe there could have been a better alternative?
I think I can defend this one. I think it's a good one. Well, let's call out what's been happening on screen. BDS just guaranteed the first Baron of the game. Lilith is most likely dead. Very unfortunate there for Vitality French Bees mid laner. But I feel like the Kai'Sa, from how she has been playing, which is very Q and auto attack focused, I think this is a good build. I think it makes sense. It's going to help them push the lane. You have the static. with the Kraken Slayer is going to help you take down big chunks of HP when tanks and go in for dives like this.
Oh, here we go. Big knock up onto Ali was utilized, but they are going to be able to stay alive on Trespass, giving them that extra little bit of life. As right now, Vicky left hung out dry on the backline of that team fight, removed by Ender as Ali playing dodgeball right now gets away from this one. Unfortunately, Kasane not going to have the same luck. Will be taken down, a 2-for-1 in all. And this is what we mean, right? We've seen a lot of plays like this from VFB where they've kind of gone in, they've managed to get a bit of a good start to the fight, but then it just doesn't work out for them, Sofchan.
I feel like what has been happening a lot, J-Real, is something in regards to the support pick. The Leona hasn't been having that much range. When she misses the blade, then it's just the ulti, and then that's it. She can't do much CC anymore. And I feel like she's always trying to get closer to Vicky, but Vicky has been so aggressive in her dashes with ulti that she's always too far away for any range that the Leona has. So at the end of the day, Vicky ends up being more alone than she is with having a support. So maybe having an enchanter could have been better.
It could have potentially been. Right now, a fight just before the next Logitech G Dragon is going to spawn. Ender is able to get away from that one, get to safety, and then stand back with Stratus Panda just firing off a few autos into the back of the Ornn. And Ali trying to work their way towards this Drake, right? We've got it spawned up. Now we can see that Ender is straight on top of it. And this Logitech G Dragon should be easily secured by BDS.
And it's such a stupidly good Drake soul as well. Getting the Ocean Soul. Oh, wait that second. Is going to be a huge fight going on with Kayn going onto the back line and falling very short on health, and they end up falling. So is the Drake for BDS Valkyries.
And this is what I mean about C, right? C has been a star for this team every time I've watched them, and it just happens again. When they're in the fight, there is no way back for VFB. There's a fight happening 4 versus 5. They still managed to pick up the kill onto Ali while Ender was picking up that Drake. Now they have the Soul and they have the Baron still active for another 15 seconds. They can keep pushing these towers, but I imagine they will reset pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. And overall, it's exactly as you said. It's a good composition just with 4 people. When you get C on top of it, it's just game over. So very hard to see Vitality French Beast coming out from this. Base exposed. See, the Zenith Blade goes in, but not as much CC as you would want.
Oh my days. Ali has just disappeared in front of my eyes, and it looks like more of VFB might be having the same effect.
Jesus.
Goodbye to Kasane, and now more will fall. Another one picked up. It's going to be goodbye to Vicky, and Lilith standing back underneath the 2 towers remaining, holding their Nexus intact. I think this could be game over here. We got 18 seconds on the Kayn, 25 on the Kai'Sa. Lilith being forced to flash away, and yes, they have Chubby Daddy alive as well, but the tower is just being absolutely massacred. The tower falling, 1 is going to go down. They will take off Lilith in the vicinity as well, and Ali might be spawning in 6 seconds, but I don't think they're going to have a Nexus when they come back.
They might not have it. The Nexus is open. We're going to see the on-horn being dropped to Ellie as well, trying to deal some damage in the backline. Kasane is there. Maybe a turnaround is possible.
They could potentially go for this, but see in the back line, look at the HP. Look at the number of indents on this HP bar. That's 100 health every indent, and they are an absolute unit. They decided to not just end the game, but to go to end the team. They're going aggressive, but maybe have gone a little bit too far. Maybe C can't get this one done in between 4 members. Being up a bit more they can chew. The damage from the Kai'Sa is really, really heavy, and they are going to send C back to base. Although, hold that second thought, they will finally send them back to base. No more from the Mordekaiser. And they could have ended the game there. I won't lie to you. BDS could have ended the game. They haven't. And is this now a way in for VFB?
Yeah, I think if C had been attacking the Nexus, it's possible it could have ended. But at the same time, they had quite a lot of damage. So that's why I appreciate the build we've got going on for Kai'Sa. Now she's going to go on the more hybrid route. So let's have a look at the replay once again. So you mentioned exactly that, 6 seconds for the next champion to be respawned. Then it's just the on goes in, so at least you deal some damage and get this halt with the knockup. But it's just enough time for the rest of the team to arrive. So Kasane is finally now there, being easier to hit the blade because they have already been slowed. And then finally you can protect Vicky. There you go. Vicky was really kiting like crazy on this fight. Let's have a look at that once again. I think it was around 3 straight out abilities right there. Ooh, delicious to watch coming out from her. Almost getting the sniper-ooski there to guarantee the shutdown, but she is careful. Don't get too close, because if she did, she could have done. There you go. If that final hit was had landed on Vicky, it would have been insane cooldowns, 45 seconds for her to respawn. But either way, base is exposed, BDS on Baron.
Yeah, it does feel like maybe a little bit of okay, we survived this round, but the next wave is spawning. It's a boss wave. It's the Baron. It's coming in hot, and can they hold on? That is the big question. Obviously, the Elder Dragon, the Logitech G Elder Drake could be spawning, but it's a minute off. I don't think VFB have the time to wait and see if they can hold out. It's a bit of a last chance saloon here, but are they going to get the draw? Are they going to be able to save their base? We'll find out very shortly, because it looks like BDS are going to just go straight down and try and pick up this win.
Ali trying to lurk, dealing some sort of CC, controlling the wave, controlling the people around. But the minions are too much, especially with C. She's like the biggest minion of all.
And it's just crashing. It's just crashing into the tower. Top is going to be removed. Mid is going to follow suit shortly. Ali just taking so much damage. Going to have to go into stasis. One more will do it. Goodbye, good night. And that could be your last time on the Rift in this game, as we are going to see Chubby Daddies getting the big knock-up, allowing for Vicky to go into the backline. But look who's there. Jarvin gets caught into the trap, and now C pushing towards the Nexus, getting to do the job that they didn't before, which is to break this one down, gaining your extra 50 gold and axing this one out. BDS going to take the first game.
Very impressive coming out with... Wait, excuse me? How much is that? Do I know how to math? I think that's 16k gold ahead. I think that was 16.